You think lust is harmless. You think it's just desire, just attraction, just human nature. But what if I told you that lust is the single greatest chain that keeps most people unconscious, and the reason why spiritually awake people begin to walk away from it? At first, lust feels exciting. It feels like life itself. Your heart races, your mind is consumed. And for a brief moment, you feel like you've touched something beyond ordinary existence. But look closer. Lust always comes with a shadow. It blinds your vision, it drives your choices, and it makes you a slave without you even realizing it. Carl Jung warned that whatever we do not make conscious will return to us as fate. And lust, more than almost anything else, is what people refuse to confront. You can hide your addictions, your loneliness, even your lies, but lust always leaks out. It shapes the partners you choose, the mistakes you repeat, and the shame you try to bury. Spiritually awake. People begin to notice this pattern. They see how lust manipulates them, pulling them into situations where they lose power, where they sacrifice dignity, where they wake up the next morning feeling emptier than before. It's not that they no longer feel attraction. It's that they finally see the truth behind it. Lust isn't freedom. Lust is a leash. Think about it. How many men and women have ruined their lives chasing lust? How many families destroyed? How many reputations shattered? How many nights spent with strangers, only to wake up with a hollow ache? And yet, the world celebrates lust like it's the highest form of living. Spiritually awake people know better. They begin to slow down. They begin to pull back. They quit lust, not instantly, not dramatically, but step by step, as they realize the price they've been paying all along. And here's the most disturbing part. Lust convinces you it's love. It whispers that this craving, this obsession, this fire in your chest is proof of passion. But passion without depth is just hunger. And hunger always returns. That's why so many people are addicted to lust, but starved of intimacy. They confuse the two. And in the confusion, they lose themselves. Those who wake up spiritually begin to separate love from desire. They see that real love requires presence, patience, and sacrifice. Lust requires nothing but a glance, a fantasy, a moment of weakness. And when you see this difference clearly, lust loses its grip. It no longer has the power to control your thoughts or bend your will. But here's the paradox. Spiritually awake people don't kill lust. They don't deny it, repress it, or pretend it doesn't exist. They simply quit being controlled by it. They quit letting it dictate their lives. They transform it into something higher. Creativity, intimacy, devotion. What was once a chain becomes fuel for transformation. And this is why most people will never understand them. Because quitting lust looks insane to the unconscious. The world says, "You're missing out, you're boring, You're wasting your youth. But the spiritually awake smile, because they know the truth. Every step away from lust is a step toward freedom. Lust is not just physical. It is psychological. It is spiritual. And what makes it so dangerous is that it hides in the unconscious, just as Carl Jung warned. On the surface, lust looks harmless. A glance, a thought, a fantasy. But each of these is a seed. Left unchecked, those seeds grow into habits, those habits into addictions, and those addictions into chains. Lust is not destroyed in one moment. It is built over years of repetition, years of indulgence, years of silence. And this is why spiritually awake people quit it slowly. They understand that lust is not simply about attraction. It is about energy. Every time you indulge in lust, you give away a piece of yourself. You hand over your focus, your clarity, your willpower. Lust doesn't just steal your body. It steals your soul. Why most people stay trapped? The average person never questions this. Society tells you lust is natural, even healthy. Movies glorify it. Songs worship it. Social media markets it in every scroll, every click. And so most people live as slaves without even knowing it. They call it freedom, when in truth it is bondage. They call it passion, when in truth it is emptiness. They call it love, when in truth it is hunger. And when the addiction deepens, they wonder why their relationships crumble. They wonder why their peace disappears. They wonder why every high leaves them emptier than before. But they never suspect lust, because lust has disguised itself as love. The awakening, spiritually. Awake people begin to notice the cracks. They notice how lust drains them after it excites them. They notice how it makes them restless instead of fulfilled. They notice how it pushes them toward people who feel like passion, but act like poison. And slowly, they start to withdraw, not out of repression, but out of recognition. They realize lust is not harmless. It is a thief. And they decide to stop giving it everything. This quitting is not loud. It's not a sudden vow or dramatic rejection. It's quiet, subtle, slow. It looks like catching yourself before chasing a fantasy. It looks like walking away from temptation that once seemed irresistible. It looks like choosing to create, to meditate, to connect, instead of giving in to hunger. The shadow test. But here is where Jung's shadow comes in. When you try to quit lust, it fights back. The shadow whispers, "You need this. You'll always need this. You'll never be enough without it." And most people believe the whisper. They give in, and the cycle begins again. Spiritually awake people, however, recognize the whisper for what it is, the shadow itself. They see that lust is not love, not destiny, not even freedom. It is simply the unconscious feeding on what you have not yet faced. And the moment you recognize this, lust begins to lose its power. Why? It's slow. But quitting lust is slow because lust lives in every corner of life. It is in your habits, your thoughts, your relationships. To quit lust is not just to say no once. It is to rewire your entire way of living. That is why spiritually awake people don't rush. They take one step at a time. They understand that shadows cannot be destroyed. They must be integrated. They learn to transform the energy of lust into something higher. And slowly, they find freedom. Not the fragile freedom of repression, but the lasting freedom of transformation. What transformation looks like? When lust no longer controls you, everything changes. Conversations become deeper because you are no longer distracted by hidden agendas. Love becomes real because it is no longer confused with hunger. Creativity explodes because the same energy once wasted is now fueling purpose. Peace returns because you no longer live with the shame and secrecy of indulgence. And perhaps most importantly, you respect yourself again. This is what spiritually awake people discover. Lust was never life. Lust was the shadow pretending to be life. And the moment they stop obeying it, they finally start living. The world will never understand. Do not expect the world to applaud this. They will mock you. They will tell you you're wasting your youth, that you're boring, that you're repressed. They will throw temptation at you again and again. But remember, the world is asleep. They cannot see the shadow. They cannot see the chains. They cannot see how lust is slowly destroying them, because they have called their prison freedom. The spiritually awake see differently. They understand that every step away from lust is a step closer to truth. And this is why they quit slowly, not because they are weak, but because they are wise. They know that true transformation is not a single act. It is a way of life. When lust finally dies, it doesn't feel like death. It feels like silence. A silence so deep that at first it feels unnatural. For years, lust had been the background noise of life, the constant pull, the restless hunger, the whisper of desire. Without it, most people feel empty. But spiritually awake, people know that emptiness is not a curse. It is the doorway to freedom. Carl Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." The death of lust feels painful only because you've mistaken it for life. When it fades, your shadow screams, "You are dying. You're losing everything." But in reality, you're not losing life. You're gaining it back. The freedom that follows. Once lust no longer controls you, your mind clears. The fog lifts. The obsessive thoughts fade. You can look at people without hunger. You can speak without hidden motives. You can be present without the shadow whispering in your ear. This freedom doesn't make you cold. It makes you real. For the first time, you can see people as they are, not as objects of desire. You can connect without possession. You can love without addiction. It is here that intimacy is finally possible, because intimacy requires honesty, and lust is the greatest liar of them all. The death of illusion. Lust's greatest trick was convincing you that it was love, that your hunger was destiny, that your obsession was passion. Spiritually awake, people know better. They see that lust is love's counterfeit, a quick high that always leaves you emptier. When lust dies, the illusions die with it. The illusion that your worth depends on who desires you. The illusion that chemistry equals connection. The illusion that desire can heal loneliness. Each illusion shatters, and in its place comes clarity. The birth of self-respect. The greatest gift of quitting lust is not freedom from others. It is freedom from yourself, from the version of you that begged for attention, from the version of you that mistook emptiness for love, from the version of you that traded dignity for desire. Self-respect is born in the silence after lust dies. And once you taste it, you will never go back. Because self-respect is more intoxicating than lust ever was. Why most never reach this stage? But here is the tragedy. Most people never reach this stage. They cling to lust as if it were life. They fear the silence. They fear the emptiness. They fear themselves. And so they keep feeding the shadow. They keep chasing hunger. They keep calling their addiction freedom. But make no mistake, this is not freedom. This is slavery. And every day spent in it is another day wasted. The Jungian transformation. Jung believed that the shadow is not to be destroyed, but integrated. The energy of lust is not evil. It is raw. When unconscious, it enslaves. When conscious, it transforms. Spiritually awake, people don't kill lust. They transform it. The same energy that once fueled addiction becomes fuel for creativity, devotion, intimacy, purpose. This is alchemy, the transformation of base desire into higher meaning. And this is why the death of lust feels like the birth of life. The world will call you strange. When you reach this stage, people will not understand you. They will wonder why you are calm when they are restless. They will wonder why you are fulfilled when they are chasing. They will mock your discipline, your silence, your detachment. But deep down, they will envy you, because you are free, because you are awake, because you are no longer trapped by the shadow they cannot escape. The final warning. Carl Jung gave us a warning that rings louder here than anywhere else. Until you make the unconscious conscious, It will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most people will call their lust fate. They will call their endless hunger passion. They will call their chains freedom. But spiritually awake, people know the truth. Fate is not lust. Passion is not hunger. Freedom is not slavery. And so, they quit lust. Not instantly, not easily, but slowly. Step by step. Battle by battle. Until one day, the shadow no longer whispers, and they finally hear the sound of their own soul. The burning question. So I'll leave you with this. If lust has been the voice guiding your choices, when will you finally listen to the silence instead? Because in that silence, your real life begins. If this video struck a chord with you, don't let the message fade into the noise of your day. Hit the like button. Subscribe for more truths that challenge the shadow. And share this with someone who needs to see what lust is really doing to them. And now, I'll leave you with one burning question. If lust is the chain, are you ready to break it? Or will you keep calling it freedom?